Now moving on, in a significant steps towards honoring victims of past injustices and atrocities, the Steering Committee tasked with the implementation of the National Memorialization Framework for Victims, as proposed by the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, officially being launched on Wednesday. Mbye Corr attended the launching and he prepares this report.
The event took place on Wednesday, the 31st of July 2024 at the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture's conference room in Banjul. The launching of the committee symbolized a historic moment in the nation's pursuit of healing, reconciliation and justice. Officials, including historians, stakeholders and legal practitioners, converged to witness the birth of the committee, a crucial entity entrusted with translating the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission recommendation, the government white paper and the comprehensive implementation plan into tangible actions that commemorate the victims and preserve their stories for posterity. Assistant Director of Museum and Monuments at the National Center for Arts and Culture, Mamad Salah, said National Center for Arts and Culture have been working hard for the implementation of the TRRC Memorialization of Victims.
As an institution, the National Center for Arts and Culture, in the past 3 years, we have been working very hard in also make sure that the implementation of these recommendations by the government white paper, by the TRRC on the memorializations of the victims of the TRRC at the Act 22. In some of the work that we have done, we have worked with some of the transitional justice organizations, such as likes of ANACET and also the Solo Sanden Foundation. We have mounted several exhibitions with them at the National Museum premises and also at the Act 22 monument as well. So the exhibitions were more on photo exhibitions.
The members of the steering committee are poised to embark on a journey fraught with challenges but rich with the promise of redress and reconciliation. Director General of National Center for Arts and Culture, Hasum Sise, reveals that the steering committee should be chaired by the National Center for Arts and Culture to spearhead the memorialization.
Accord. The plan therefore stipulates that there shall be a steering committee chaired by the National Center for Arts and Culture that will spearhead memorialization efforts such as renaming of the Act 22 to Never Again Memorial Arch, erecting a memorial hall with the names of all the victims who lost their lives during the Jammeh regime, to name a few. This steering committee is therefore been set up to see the implementation of the recommendations on the memorialization as set out in the implementation plan.
Legal officer for the post-TRRC unit, Mrs. Safia Tunyang, outlines the idea behind the steering committee.
Okay, so the idea behind the steering committee is to basically give institutions that have the technical know-how and the expertise in the area that we're working on to lead the process. When we talk about implementation of the TRRC recommendations, there's usually this perception that it's a legal issue or it's the Ministry of Justice that should be doing the implementation. But the TRRC gave some recommendations that are beyond legal. When we're talking about, let's say, for example, the memorialization initiatives that we're supposed to carry out as a government, they're not necessarily legal. It's more of the likes of Mr. Sise and others from the Ministry of Tourism, from Youth and Sports, from the National Center for Civic Education being around, people from the National Library, because these are areas that they've been working in for the past years and have more knowledge than we do, because it's not our field.
The steering committee is expected to facilitate wide consultations and a leading role for victims and victim-led organizations in the development and implementation of a national memorialization strategy and framework, and ensure that memorials exist throughout the country as a way for acknowledging and remembering the victims of human rights violation, among others. Meanwhile, the institutions on the steering committee are the National Center for Arts and Culture Chair, Interior, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Lands, Religious Affairs, Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Ministry of Tourism and Culture, Ministry of Information, National Council for Civic Education, and National Youth Council. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Mbye Corr.